The high school reunion was exactly as pretentious as Nathan Walker had feared. The grand ballroom sparkled with lights and expensive decorations, full of people who'd spent 20 years proving they were better than their teenage selves. At 38, Nathan felt distinctly out of place in his department store suit, watching former classmates compare careers and vacation homes. He was only here because his triplet daughters had begged him. 7-year-old Emma, Grace, and Lily, identical down to their blonde curls, had somehow gotten it into their heads that Daddy needed to have fun with grown-ups. His neighbor had agreed to watch them, and Nathan had run out of excuses. Now he regretted coming. "Nathan Walker?" The voice was familiar and unwelcome. "Is that really you?" He turned to find his ex-wife, Victoria, looking stunning in a gold dress that probably cost more than his monthly rent. Beside her stood her new husband, some venture capitalist named Preston, looking exactly like the kind of man Victoria had always wanted Nathan to be. "Victoria, you look well. I am well." Her smile was sharp. "Preston and I just got back from the Maldives. What have you been up to?" "Working, raising the girls." Victoria's expression soured at the mention of their daughters. She'd left when the triplets were 2, overwhelmed by motherhood, choosing her career and a new relationship over her family. She saw them one weekend a month, when it was convenient. "Still doing that, are you? Playing Mr. Mom?" Her voice carried across the nearby conversations, drawing attention. "I keep telling you, Nathan, those girls need structure, not a father who coddles them. You should consider boarding school. Preston knows an excellent. They're 7 years old, Victoria. They need their parent. They need opportunities you can't provide." Victoria looked him up and down. "What are you now, still teaching?" "High school English, was it?" "Very noble, very poor." Preston laughed, the sound condescending. "Come on, darling, don't be cruel. Not everyone can be successful." Nathan felt his face burn. Around them, people were watching, some with pity, others with the uncomfortable fascination of witnessing a car crash. "Excuse me," Nathan said quietly. "I should go." "Running away, as always." Victoria's voice followed him. "You know what your problem is, Nathan. You settled. Settled for a mediocre job, a mediocre life. The girls deserve better than a mother who abandoned them." The new voice was female, confident, and carried authority that made everyone turn. A woman in a stunning red dress stood nearby, dark hair cascading over her shoulders, her expression cool and assessing. She was beautiful in a way that made Victoria's calculated glamour look cheap. "I'm sorry," Victoria said icily. "Who are you?" Someone who was listening to you humiliate your ex-husband at a public event. The woman moved closer to Nathan. "You must be Victoria. Nathan mentioned you." Nathan had no idea who this woman was, but he was grateful for the intervention. Victoria's eyes narrowed. "And you are?" "Disappointed." The woman smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I'm disappointed that anyone would publicly shame a man for choosing to raise his daughters instead of pursuing wealth. That seems like exactly the wrong set of priorities." "This is none of your business," Preston interjected. "Perhaps not, but I make it my business to speak up when I see something unjust." She turned to Nathan. "I think you should go. Your daughters are probably missing you." Nathan nodded gratefully and headed for the exit. Behind him, he could hear Victoria's outraged voice, but he didn't care anymore. Outside, he sat in his old sedan for a moment, hands shaking on the steering wheel. He'd known seeing Victoria would be hard, but the public humiliation stung worse than he'd expected. His phone buzzed. A text from his neighbor. "Girls are asleep. Take your time. You deserve a night out." Nathan drove to the all-night diner instead of going home. He needed coffee and quiet before facing his daughters in the morning, before putting on the happy face he wore so they wouldn't worry. He was halfway through his second cup when someone slid into the booth across from him. The woman in the red dress. "I hope you don't mind," she said. "I wanted to make sure you were okay. You didn't have to leave the party. That wasn't a party. That was a showcase of insecurity and one-upmanship. I've been to better events in airport lounges." She extended her hand. "I'm Isabella Moretti." Nathan shook her hand, recognition dawning. The Isabella Moretti Industries? Guilty. Though I prefer to be known as just Isabella when I'm crashing diners at midnight. She smiled. I went to your high school too, though I was a year behind. You probably don't remember me. I'm sorry, I looked very different then. Braces, bad haircut, crippling shyness. Isabella gestured to the waitress for coffee. I came tonight because someone told me these reunions were important for networking. But watching your ex-wife attack you for being a good father reminded me why I usually avoid them. She's not wrong, though. I'm not successful by most measures. I teach high school English for $40,000 a year. I live in a rental house with 3 kids. I drive a car with 200,000 miles on it. And you're raising 3 daughters alone. That counts for nothing? Not in Victoria's world. Isabella studied him for a long moment. Can I tell you something about success, Nathan? I built a $1 billion company from scratch. I've got houses in 3 countries, more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. And I eat most of my meals alone because I can't remember the last time I met someone who saw me instead of my bank account. She leaned forward. You know what I thought when I saw you tonight? Before your ex-wife started her performance? You were standing alone looking at photos on your phone. You were smiling, really smiling, at whatever you were looking at. I couldn't remember the last time I'd smiled like that. Pictures of my daughters, Nathan admitted. They insisted on doing my hair before I left. Made me take about 50 photos. Exactly. You have 3 people who love you unconditionally, who think you're the most important person in the world. That's not settling, Nathan. That's winning. Nathan felt something loosen in his chest. Thank you, for earlier and for this. You're welcome. Isabella sipped her coffee. Now, I have a proposition for you, and I need you to hear me out before you say no. Okay, Moretti Industries has been expanding into educational technology. We're developing programs for public schools, but everything we've created is designed by people who've never been in a classroom. It's all theory, no practice. We need educators who understand what actually works. Nathan saw where this was going. You want to hire me as a consultant initially, review our programs, provide feedback, help us design something that teachers would actually use. 20 hours a week, your own schedule, can be done mostly remote. $75,000 a year. Nathan's coffee cup froze halfway to his mouth. That's almost double what I make now. It's what the position is worth. If it works out, there could be a permanent role. Director of Educational Programs, $150,000 full benefits, including a college fund for your daughters. Why? You don't know me. I know you chose your children over your career. I know you've been teaching for 15 years despite the terrible pay because you believe in education. I know you stood there and took your ex-wife's abuse without retaliating because you're a decent person. Isabella met his eyes. And I know that people who prioritize what matters most are exactly who I want working for me. I need to think about it. Of course, take all the time you need. Isabella slid a business card across the table. But Nathan, your ex-wife was wrong about everything. Don't let her voice become the one in your head. 2 weeks later, Nathan sat in Moretti Industries headquarters, reviewing educational software with a team of developers. The girls had been ecstatic about his new job, especially when he'd explained it meant more time with them, not less. Isabella stopped by his office that afternoon. How's the transition? Overwhelming but good. Your team built some impressive programs. They're just missing the classroom reality. That's why you're here. Isabella leaned against the doorframe. By the way, I have something for you. She handed him an envelope. Inside were 3 tickets to a children's theater production. My assistant mentioned your daughters love theater. These are for the opening night next month. Premium seats. Nathan felt his throat tighten. Isabella, you don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. Those girls have a father who chose them over everything else. They deserve to see something magical. Thank you. 6 months later, Nathan had transformed Moretti's educational division. The programs he'd helped design were being piloted in 50 schools with remarkable results. His salary had increased again, and he'd been able to move the girls into a house with a yard. But more than that, he'd found purpose beyond survival. He was making education better for thousands of kids, while still being present for his own daughters. The company holiday party was elegant but warm, nothing like the reunion. Nathan brought Emma, Grace, and Lily, who wore matching dresses and soft pastels and were absolutely enchanted by everything. Isabella found them by the dessert table. "You must be the famous triplets. Your father talks about you constantly." The girls giggled, immediately charmed. "Are you Daddy's boss?" Emma asked. "I suppose I am. Daddy says you're the smartest person he knows," Grace added. "That's very kind." Isabella knelt down to their level. "But I think your daddy might be the smartest person I know. He understands what matters most." Lily, the quietest of the three, studied Isabella seriously. "Are you happy?" The question seemed to catch Isabella off guard. "That's a very thoughtful question. Daddy says being happy is more important than being rich. Are you both?" Isabella looked at Nathan, something vulnerable in her expression. "I'm working on it." Later, after he'd taken the girls home and returned to thank Isabella for including them, Nathan found her alone in her office. "They're wonderful," she said. "You're doing an amazing job. They make it easy, most of the time." Nathan hesitated. "Can I ask you something? Why did you really help me? That night at the reunion, the job, all of it." Isabella was quiet for a moment. "Because I saw someone who'd chosen love over ambition and was being punished for it. I've spent my life choosing ambition over everything else. Built an empire, lost myself. When I saw you with your daughter's pictures smiling like that, I realized what I'd traded away. It's not too late, you know, to find balance. Maybe not." Isabella smiled. "Your daughter asked if I was happy. No one's asked me that in years. Everyone asks if I'm successful, if the company's growing, if the stock price is up. But happy? That's not a metric anyone tracks. Should be. It should." Isabella met his eyes. "Thank you, Nathan, for reminding me what success actually looks like." They stood there for a moment, two people who'd found something unexpected in each other. Not romance, but recognition, a reminder that the measures of worth the world gave them were wrong. Sometimes the people the world calls failures are the ones who've succeeded at what matters most, and sometimes the people with everything discover that without someone to share it with, they have nothing at all. If this story touched you, please like and share it with someone choosing family over wealth. Subscribe for more stories about real success, and comment about a time when you chose what mattered over what looked good. Your story might encourage someone to make the same brave choice.